Boom, baby, we are live. Welcome to Interview with the Man, episode number 657, Enduring Being Canceled, featuring my life coach, my good best friend here, Mr. Justin Mark. We're going to be talking all about this today. But before we get going, don't forget, June 29th, we got something big coming up for you. That is the Inner Game Healing Endure Summit. Check out what we have right here.
Hi, this is MLD, and I'm the leader of the Masculine Empowerment Network. And I'm here today with a very special message with you in regards of the recent situations that have happened to me, my community, and my image here on the internet. As many of you know, I was recently a victim of a baseless cyber attack from a group of hate-filled individuals that tried to paint me in a negative light in order to damage the work that I do for the men in my community and the men of my world every single day since I started live streaming in 2019. Thankfully, all of their lies and manipulation have been disproven by me and the men within my organization. These critics are now permanently silent. However, I'm going to be very honest with you. During this time, my mental health did take a hit. For weeks, I received slanderous comments, death threats, nasty direct messages from so many people on so many platforms all over my social media and anywhere I was going. This is commonly known as cyberbullying, and it was a terrible experience to go through. On a daily basis, I could feel my anxiety rising, my stress rising, a creeping feeling of self-doubt lingering in the back of everything I did. And overall, it was just not a good experience to go through. As many of you know, right now, we're in the middle of a cultural war. And as a leader in this movement, it is up to me to be strong. And thankfully, I have a group of experts in my community that specialize in mental health. And with their support, I was able to get through this awful time in my life and continue to bring the value to the community that I have built online, which is based around one thing and one thing only: helping men. I am not online to be popular. I am not online to gain favor with anybody. My message is very pure, and that is the message of self-improvement, specifically targeting the audience of men like you watching at home right now. Without the support group that I have cultivated over the years, I definitely know that it would have been way harder for me to get through this awful time. But I have emerged triumphant, and I'm here today to let you know that you do not have to be alone either. I know that the average man is a victim of today's mainstream narrative, which is constantly focused around one thing and one thing only: tearing men down. You see it on the news, you see it on social media, you see it in video games, music, movies, dramas. Everywhere you go, they are just focused on tearing men down with their hate-filled agenda. And men are losing hope today because they have no support system, they have no self-esteem, and everywhere they go, they're being victimized simply for the fact that they are men. This is absolutely having a devastating effect on the average male in today's Western population. And you can see it when you take a look at the average man around you. Anxiety, depression, feelings of hopelessness, and a general sense of giving up on life, choosing a life of leisure, drugs, addiction, and many more dark vices have become commonplace for the average man to delude himself in, to escape from the daily psychological attacks he receives from the moment he wakes up on every single platform available. This is devastating, it is not good, and it must stop. This is why I have created the Inner Game Healing Summit. In Q1 of this year, we had over 260 men join our community with the unified goal of strengthening our mental health together as men in this hostile modern world against men. This community is designed to help men strengthen their mind, understand the foundations of good psychological practices to engage in on a daily basis in order to give them a very sound mind in today's crazy world. And more importantly, it's a network of men coming together, supporting each other, and lifting each other up in a very positive manner to help each individual man achieve the goals that he has set out for his life, no matter what this hostile mainstream narrative tries to do against that man. This recent attack against me only made me stronger in my beliefs. And that's why on June 29th, we are opening the Inner Game Healing Summit for a very special edition. And this 3-part program is going to help men like you achieve the mental health goals that you desire. The first part is our live virtual workshops. These virtual workshops can be attended by you at the convenience of wherever you are, as long as you have an internet connection. Secondly, we will be providing you with a video course that allows you to understand the principles of mental health, and you can go at your own pace at home, at the office, on vacation, wherever you like, as long as you have an internet connection. You'll have lifetime access to this, so it will be no problem for you to go back and review this, which I do highly encourage. And finally, you'll get access to a Telegram chat that already has 250 plus live members in it right now to help you on your journey of recovery. With direct access to me and leaders in my community, this is set up for you to win. Together with these tools, I believe that we can help the modern man in this hostile environment that attacks him and his mental health every single day. That's why I'm proud to present the special edition of the Inner Game Healing Summit. On June 29th, join me for the Inner Game Healing Summit. Endure. Thank you.
That's right. June 29th is going down, guys, for the Inner Game Healing Summit, the special edition, the Endure edition. So if you haven't joined up right now, go to innergamehealing.com, put your best email address in right here, and then click here to get on the waiting list. All you got to do, put your email address in here, click this blue button, you'll be locked and loaded. So what you're going to get is 15 virtual workshops that are done on Zoom with me, Justin, and the rest of our experts. And these are going to be broken up. We do 5 at a time. So they're going to be 5 in summer, 5 in fall, 5 in winter. So we're going to help you throughout the rest of the year for you guys that are having the inner game problems and, just the self-esteem problems, depression, anxiety, all these things. We're going to show you how to healthily deal with this. And we have a whole community that is thriving right now. These guys are doing so well, and they only joined like 2 months ago. So you get that. You get access to my video course, Inner Game Healing, which is a video guide to show you how to just take care of yourself, practicing good mental health habits and structures for you to get involved in your life that'll help you get to the next level, get past these things that are holding you back. For you guys to just feel stuck, you feel like mentally there's something there and you just can't get to the next level. That's what this video course is for. It's to help you get unstuck. And like I said, in addition to that, you're going to get so many additional bonuses that are in there. We do bonus webinars. We do question and answer. We help you guys out with everything. So go to innergamehealing.com, get on the waiting list today, and join us. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome. Justin, we're going to talk today to you about enduring being canceled, because I think a lot of people don't know that you were actually canceled in Mexico. But before we go into that real quick, you've been involved in the Inner Game Healing Summit now for the first time this year. You've been seeing what's going on, and you and I kind of had parallel journeys of inner healing, healing traumas, overcoming the mental problems that a lot of men have, and a lot of mental problems that we had that made us better individuals. You want to talk about that real quick with the folks? Just tell them exactly, how that was for you, how you came along, and what your experience has been like at the Inner Game Healing Summit.
Sure. So for those who don't know who I am, I'm Justin Mark. I'm based in Toronto, Canada. I'm a dating coach. And one thing I noticed with, success with women in general was most guys can only get to a certain skill set when it came to dating, soul skills, and self-improvement. And years in the journey, I realized that if you want to hit the highest levels of success, it's not just working on what's on the outside, it's what's working on the inside as well. So when we go back to talking about money, muscles, game frame, a lot of that isn't just physical, right? It's not just like hitting the gym or doing the right habits or, going out doing day game to get girls or doing things to make money. And a lot of it's psychological. And so you have to actually work on what's on the inside to achieve the highest levels of success. And that means working on your inner character development, letting go of past traumas, letting go of all these negative programming or negative belief systems that aren't supporting you. And so I've been studying inner game work, trauma release, and spiritual growth for about 10 years now. And it's allowed me to become extremely, extremely successful in everything I do in my life, in my personal life, in my career, my dating life, my social life, my business, right? And so it's one thing I love teaching a lot of my clients. And then when me and John connected, when an MLD and I connected a couple years ago, we actually found it really interesting how we both had a very similar parallel journey with inner game. And we both noticed that inner game was a huge talking point in what we teach, because we both realized that inner game is something you need to fix in order to fix everything in your life. And when you fix what's on the inside, everything that's on the outside falls right into place. And so I was invited to join the Inner Game Healing Summit as a coach and leader in that community. And I mean, I've seen some insane work. And I think this is probably one of the most successful programs that, I've ever been part of as well. And I think that you've ever run because, it's crazy how many guys need this. It's crazy how many guys are involved in this, right? The turnouts on the webinars, the kind of guys who are dedicated towards working on this, because especially if you look at everything that's happening right now in America, if you look at everything that's happening right now in the world, right, we really are in like a culture war. We really are in like the weirdest timeline. And a lot of men just aren't working on their inner selves. And if you look at, older generations, if you look at way back in the day, men used to have a rite of passage from going from boy to man. A lot of men would go through some sort of rite of passage type of experience in order to solidify themselves in their communities, solidify themselves as a man, and actually be seen as a man, right? This is seen in all cultures from all over the world, in all religions. And I feel like we've lost that in modern society. We really have. We've lost that completely. And you'll see guys who are older, who should be a man, but they don't act like a man. I see it all the time. I see young and old men who are acting like children. They're acting like boys. They haven't developed themselves into an empowered individual because they haven't worked on themselves. They haven't worked on their inner self. They haven't worked on their inner game. And so what the Inner Game Healing Summit allows guys to do is actually work on their inner character growth, and slow and steady over a long period of time, start transitioning into a higher level individual, into a higher thinker, into a deeper thinker, into a man who can offer more value, and into a man who just understands oneself better. And I think this is extremely important. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter, how much money you make, your ethnicity, your cultural background. I think every guy needs this. I think everyone needs to learn these skills. It's extremely important, and everyone needs to be part of a community like this dedicated towards self-improvement and men's self-improvement specifically, because you're not going to get there on your own, right? This is easy. Everyone will be doing it. But look at the average person in America. The average American has less than $500 in their bank account in case of an emergency, right? The average person is thousands of dollars in debt. The average man in America, I think it's 1/3 of men in America haven't gotten laid in the last 12 months, right? 25%, 1/4 of men 18 to 30 in America are virgins. That is unacceptable. All these things are unacceptable. And all of these problems are a result of bad inner game and bad inner game framework. And today we could talk a little bit about how I got canceled in Mexico for actually creating content on YouTube that was adding value towards men's lives. And it's crazy. It's almost like the mainstream narrative is that they don't want you to win, right? The mainstream does not want men to become empowered, right? Society does not want strong men because strong men are more difficult to control. Strong men are a threat to the establishment, and men who can think for themselves and are critical thinkers and who are empowered, that's never been seen as a good thing. And I've been in this space for about 10 years, so I've seen so many people get canceled. I've had many friends get canceled, and it's not easy. And it goes back to the basics when it comes down to, I mean, any one of you guys watching can get canceled just for being a man. I think a lot of guys don't realize that. And literally just for being a man, you could get canceled. You could have false allegations put on you. You could be canceled on social media for no reason. You could have your job taken away from you by having the wrong political views, right? If you go out publicly and you have the wrong political views, you can have your rights completely stripped away from you, okay? Freedom of speech isn't real. It's not what they make it seem to be. And you could have some serious problems. And you're going to need strong inner game. You're going to need strong inner healing processes and inner game framework to deal with all these problems that can come up.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. During this recent crazy fucking slanderous attack on me, you know, Justin was one of the core members that I called to talk to and talk me through it because, you know, he's one of the experts that is a leader in the Inner Game Healing Summit, and he's already been canceled before. Like, they were trying to cancel me, which is hilarious because like everything they were saying was all fucking lies and manipulation for money. That's what these fucking sick people do. Um, from an outside perspective, Justin, how did you view all this stuff that was happening to me? Like, what did it look like from the outside?
Well, from my perspective, it was a long time coming. I'm surprised they allowed you to get the traction and get as big as you did without canceling you or trying to sooner, right? Because, I mean, dude, you've been everywhere. You've been all over YouTube. You've been all over the different feeds. You're all over social media, man. And if you look at the collective view counts of all these videos, all these hit pieces on you, it's in the millions of views, right?
Yeah.
And of course, it's going to affect
The Bangs
you.
clip alone was seen. The Bangs clip alone was seen over 200 million times.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And so, yeah, over the last 6 months, I mean, you've been seen by so many people, right? And it was going to happen sooner or later where you're going to have an organization or you're going to have a group of people targeting you, right? Because, you know, there's always going to be a pushback, right? And, man, mainstream society does not like to see anybody succeed the way you've been succeeding, as quick as you've been succeeding at that speed. I mean, look at what happened to Tate. He had like literally a meteor, like he was a fucking rocket. He just came out of nowhere, mainstream all over the world, right? And then he just got canceled systematically, right? And it was crazy to see what happened to him because when I got canceled in Mexico 3 years ago, right, I was in Forbes. We were in the Daily Mail, Al Jazeera.
You were in Forbes?
Jezebel. Yeah, dude, Forbes Mexico, right?
Oh no!
And so it was crazy. Like, we were all over, dude. And I was seeing things happening in real time because, I mean, at least on the bright side, John, nothing exactly was happening. There was no like real world consequences, right? When you were getting canceled, right? I was actually experiencing real world consequences. I was experiencing Airbnb disables my account, kicks us out of Airbnb. I have to go get a hotel, and I'm living in Airbnbs. Right? I was traveling for years, living in Airbnbs, or social media accounts getting disabled, and now I can't run my business. Email lists getting banned, payment processors getting banned. My business partner actually got arrested because, again, when they create these narratives, they're false and they create lies out of thin air. It's fugazi, not real. Okay, so Bradicus, my partner at the time, he was all over the news. They were saying all kinds of horrible, slanderous things about him. They were saying things that weren't true. They were saying he was like wanted in like 12 countries, countries he's never even been to, right? And what actually happened is we were in Brazil the media scandal was happening in Mexico and a lot of Latin American countries, it kind of spread, right? It would have been seen by hundreds of millions of people, like literally, right? Latin America is like about 700 million people. And so we were all over the news. We were mainstream, like late night talk shows. So, I mean, this would have been seen by tens of millions of people, right? And so Brad was on a Tinder date in Mexico and police showed up, right? It was a setup. He shows up to the meetup location and 20 police officers with guns drawn show up and put a gun to his head and arrest him. Right. And after like 8 hours of investigation, moving from police station to police station, right, they're thinking, oh, wow, this is international wanted criminal, right? Because he's all over the news. That's what the news is saying, right? That's what the Latin American news is saying. And they investigate him. They call up all the countries that say, oh, he's wanted in this country, he's wanted in Peru, he's wanted in Colombia, he's wanted in Mexico. They call up all these countries. He's got no warrants, no info, no nothing. There's nothing. It literally said he was wanted by Interpol, right? They contact Interpol. They're like, we have no idea who this guy is, right? So all the news is just completely fake, right? And a lot of people don't know that, mainstream news, like first of all, the mainstream news is completely fugazi. It's not real, okay? If you trust mainstream news these days, if you're a person in 2023 modern society trusting mainstream news, you're a fool, okay? You're delusional, right? But most guys don't realize that, the news is essentially, it's just like a blog. Right, it's like any YouTuber can pick up the camera and just make up lies and slander. Right, the same way. I mean, I saw a lot of the clips of these people talking shit about you. They really had nothing to. None of these guys actually know you, right? So they have nothing actually to say. So what they'll try to do is they'll try to attack your character. They'll try to find one little thing you said and try to take it out of context and nitpick it and try to make it sound bad, or they'll try to associate it to something else that's completely unrelated and then try to take that and run your name through the dirt, right? But it's not real. None of this is real. And this is how they'll try to cancel you. They'll find little things. They'll try to dig up skeletons in your closet, or they'll try to find bad things to try to discredit you, to try to cancel you any way they can, okay? And you have to learn how to combat this. You have to learn how to almost like decentralize your life or decentralize your business. And this is for everyone. This is for everyone watching. Okay, this isn't just advice to the coaches out there or the mainstream figures or the people who YouTube channels. If you are a man existing in modern society, you have to learn how to decentralize your life, and that means a decentralized income. So you have multiple streams of income that can't be canceled, right? Because if you have, one stream of income, which is like a 9-to-5 job, I mean, that can be taken away from you. You get canceled from that. Decentralize your network. So a lot of people are relying on social media, right? And that's a huge problem. I was doing that, right? My entire network was through Facebook and Instagram, and I had that taken away from me, right? You got to make sure you have like everyone's phone numbers. You got to make sure you're connecting with people, like your people's personal numbers, to make sure your business is decentralized and it can't be taken down. To make sure your websites can't be taken down. You have to make sure your payment processing can't be taken down. You have to decentralize your entire life, right? And again, like, the root cause of this, the baseline of learning these skills actually is inner game, because without a really strong inner game framework, you're not going to be able to handle this. Because after my media scandal, man, I was fucking left high and dry, dude. I was scared, man.
Really?
The media scandal caused me a lot of mental problems, right? Well, I had a girlfriend from Mexico who was a famous actress, and I was infamous now. And so that's causing us issues in the relationship, so we end up breaking up, right? She ended up attacking me. She got physically abusive. I think I still have a scar on my arm. I can see, I still have a scar on my arm here from this girl like fucking attacking me. I can actually send you videos of this girl when me and her broke up. She was fucking attacking me, coming at me, like trying to fucking. I was scared she would like pick up a knife to try to stab me, right? It was terrifying. It was terrifying, right? Because essentially, like,
why was she attacking you? Why was she attacking you?
We were having like relationship issues outside of like the media stuff. Like, I was 23 years old. No, I was 24 years old dating this girl. She told me she was 23. I later found out she was 29, so she was lying about her age. She was a hot girl, but she was like from the hood. Like, this girl was from like the most poor city in Mexico City. And again, she's a famous actress, but she has such bad inner game herself that funny enough, she would make a lot of money for like a local in Mexico City, but she would blow all her money, right? She would just waste her money on dumb shit, just random stuff. You make up clothes, whatever. Like, it was just so stupid. And I can't imagine this girl was turning 30. and like how poor her habits were and how bad her own inner game was because she hadn't worked on herself at all. Because she's a pretty girl, she never was forced to work on herself, right? And it was causing issues in the relationship, right? Like the most basic things. Like I'd wake up and she's like out shopping with my credit card, and I'd start fighting her. I'd be like, "Hey, like what the fuck? You can't take my credit card and go fucking shopping while I'm sleeping. Like it's not okay. It's like out of the boundary, right?" And then she'd get a fight with me and be like, "You're a cheap fucking Indian." And I'm like, what the fuck, right? It's like you can't. It's so logical, right? Like you can't argue with that, right? And so, I mean, we were going through that during the whole media scandal, and it was crazy. So we ended up breaking up. She ended up like going fucking crazy, like attacking me. And funny enough, we had actually left Brazil, gone back to Mexico, and she was trying to say that she's going to cancel me. She's going to go to the news and expose me because she knew if hypothetically if she did that, that would actually be good for her career, right? And make me look bad. It was just so crazy that it's like this person I brought in my life that I've trusted is now going to try to like cancel me on this shit. So for nothing, like, I didn't do anything, dude. I was like, it was COVID lockdowns. I'm like living in Airbnb, making YouTube videos, and next thing you know, we're in the fucking news. We literally didn't do anything wrong, illegal, or anything fucking criminal in the slightest, right? Right. Essentially, what we're doing was we're making a course called Online Seduction about how to pick up girls from online during COVID lockdowns. And you know, the crazy thing about being a foreigner in a foreign country during COVID lockdowns, I was pretty much one of the only foreigners. And you understand this because you live in Japan, right? You understand how they don't really like foreigners that much. Well, I was like one of the only foreigners in the entire country of Mexico, right? And that's what really triggered this media scandal because it wasn't triggered by me. It was triggered by my business partner, Brad, who is a tall, degenerate white man, right? Who's just like going crazy picking up chicks, right? And the main thing that really triggered the media scandal was we developed a system to automate, our dating. So we created like almost like a list where you can send one text message and it goes out to 6,000 girls. It goes up to thousands of girls, and it ended up triggering media because we had such a reach with women, and it was COVID. Everything's boring. There's nothing really to talk about. They're talking about Justin and Brad picking up all these girls off Tinder, just slaying pussy, throwing parties in their penthouse, and hanging out with all these hot girls, right? So it was such an interesting story, but it snowballs. It's like a broken telephone thing, right? It's like there's the truth. There's like the objective truth, which is something, nothing wrong, nothing legal, right? And then it just keeps linking to like, oh, okay, something that's not the truth, and something that's further from the truth, and further from the truth. And next thing you know, they're calling you criminal. They're saying your name. They're saying you do this. They're saying you're abuse towards women. They're saying you're criminal. You're doing these bad things, and none of this is true. It's all fucking fake. And it's always the same lies, the same bullshit, the same garbage. Especially if you're a man, they'll be like, oh, he's he does this to women, or he thinks this, or he's a misogynist, or this and that. Like they'll always make up these bullshit lies and slander any way they can. Really, it's just defamation of character. And like, what, you're gonna sue the news? You're gonna sue these like multi-million-dollar news organizations or these big YouTubers? Like, is that what you're gonna do? Right? And a lot of these people have they'll have like lawsuit insurance or lawyer insurance. Like, and lawsuits are expensive, man. You can't just like sue them, right?
Yeah.
You have to have proof. You have to, and here's the other thing too, right? They'll just take down the news articles, and you take the court and they'll say, hey, look, what lawsuit, right? But before you know it, it's like all the information's already out there. It's already spread. I mean, the way the news works, or the way a lot of these like YouTube cancellations work, is like once one person is saying something about you, everyone starts saying that about you, right?
Yeah.
Once one person is saying, oh, this guy's a bad person, now different organizations will say, hey, this person says he's a bad person. They'll actually like cite person number one as a source, right? And so that's a huge problem. So getting canceled caused me a lot of emotional issues. I had to move back home to Canada. I was traumatized, not just about it wasn't about the news. It was about my business falling apart, my life falling apart. It wasn't just about me being in the news and the attention that I had on me. It was the death threats. I had like Mexican cartel messaging me, threatening to murder me and my family. Right? I had, the breakup I went through. Right? I had my business fall apart, social media accounts disabled. Different problems happening here and there. Right? Just the fear, thinking like, okay, funny enough, all this is online. All this exists online. I had moved back to Mexico from Brazil. I spent a month in Brazil, go back to Mexico. Not a single person came up to me and he was in the news. Not a single person that actually know me, even though I was seen by tens of millions of people online, right? So it just really just exists on the internet. But just in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, what if these people know me, right? It just causes a lot of distress, right? And so I actually moved back to Toronto at that time. I hadn't been home to Toronto in over a year. And I just remember thinking, man, my whole life kind of just fell apart. You know, again, half my business fell apart, right? I had to really start building things up from scratch. And then I didn't have a place to live because I hadn't been home in so long. I moved in my buddy's basement. Everything was slow. It was COVID lockdowns. So there was only one solution here, right? And we all know what the solution is, right? When you go through anything traumatic, even the smallest things can traumatize you, right? Think about this. When you're a 5-year-old kid in a grocery store with your mom and she loses you, right? She's in the other aisle looking for like cans of soup and you lose your mom and you're thinking, oh my God, I lost my mom. My mom abandoned me. And all of a sudden you have abandonment issues, right? Yeah. Trauma can happen in a very subtle way without you realizing it. So I was thinking, well, this must have traumatized me in some way, shape, or form. So we have to work on the inner game stuff now. So I spent, because again, things were slow. So I spent 6 months just working on inner game. I spent 6 months during that time frame just meditating every day, right? Practicing good inner game habits, right? Doing things that were really beneficial, such as, you know, listening to binaural beats audio in the background, or daily meditation, cleaning supplements, or microdosing, or, you know, exercising, or working on inner game framework. And a lot of the stuff we talk about in inner game healing, and a lot of the advanced techniques is what I practice. And so I spent a solid 6 months straight every single day just making sure that I worked on that stuff. And, you know, I remember having some really deep transformations to unwire, purging all that stuff. And that's what allowed me to bounce back. It's been 2.5 years. That wasn't that long ago. It's been 3 years actually now. And I mean, if you look at my life now, it's like I'm so much more successful. I've literally got 10x the money in the bank, right? I'm dating the hottest girls ever of my life, right? I've got 4 girlfriends now. John, when you were in Toronto, you saw me meet my second girlfriend. I mean, she's in my bed right now, right? You were there the night, if you remember when you were in Toronto, when you came visit me, when you and Paul were out here, you guys saw me pull this girl in the club bathroom. She was my second girlfriend. Now I'm at 4 girlfriends. But even this weekend, right? On Saturday, I had a foursome with 3 hot girls. Okay, I don't think any of this would be possible without working my inner game. I can't imagine.
So let me ask you this:
beautiful women.
Let me ask you this: Are you glad that you got canceled?
So yeah, that's a funny thing because whenever I talk about this in the end, I'm actually glad all of that happened because of how much it taught me. It almost like in the short term, it actually limited my success and limited my growth. It's almost like you're growing slowly. And then what actually happened is I was stopped. Like I couldn't grow anymore. It's almost like the trauma stopped me from growing. Like I couldn't push through it. I remember feeling this like weird energetic blockage where I felt like I couldn't grow because of the trauma. Like I felt the trauma was stopping me from getting to a higher level. I felt like I couldn't get past, right? And so after I worked on the inner game and like purged these things, I remember there's a specific day where I just really dug deep, and it's almost like I purged some demons, all this weird stuff just came out, all the trauma just let go, and all of a sudden it's just I was able to shoot up, right? Almost like if you actually look at like how bamboo plants grow, like they grow very, very slowly at first. Like there's no growth, and all of a sudden they just shoot up and they sprout like overnight. And that's how it is working on inner game. You can just have the success instantly, right, by working your inner game. But it's not instantly because you've actually done a lot more work on your inner self than the average guy would be doing. And so you're going to get extraordinary results. You're going to get way better results than you typically would get. And so that's kind of how it was. And if you look at a lot of the results I've been getting, I mean, at 27 years old, dude, I'm killing it in business. I'm dating the hottest girls. On Friday night, I literally had sex with 5 women. To be fair, 3 of them are girlfriends. I think only 2 of them are new girls, right? And so it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane when you think, like, I don't know anyone getting results like this, right? And I don't think this would be possible without working on inner game. I think inner game is the foundation of all this. Like, if you want to get laid a lot, if you want to make money, if you want to make at least 6 figures a year, if you want to make 7 figures a year, if you want to increase your income, if you want to increase your dating life, sex life, social life, or improve your relationships, maybe you already have a girlfriend, maybe you're already making good money, maybe you want to make a little bit more money, have an easier life, have better mental framework, and just be more confident. And you need to work on your inner game. And I think this is literally a one-size-fits-all strategy where it's like, no matter who you are, man or woman, I know, it's based around helping men, right? But women need this. Everyone needs this.
Men and women both need to clear their traumas.
The downside is women won't be ever forced to, right? Because as a woman, you just show up and you have life handed to you. As a man, we have to really work for everything we have. We really do, right? You're never ever going to see a situation where you'll see some dude driving a nice fucking car. He hasn't worked years to get there, or a young guy at a table with all these beautiful women around there, and he hasn't worked to get there, right? It's impossible. You never just see that guy. 9-year-old girl, she'll be on the boat. I was on a yacht last Saturday, right? I brought 15 super hot girls on this yacht, right? I was later on counting. I was like, wait, I've been fucking 70 of these girls. It was great. I was having a lot of fun. I was like taking turns making all those girls, deciding which girl I want to fuck that night, and I ended up hooking up with a few of them, right? But the crazy thing is, these girls hadn't do anything to show up to the yacht, right? They're like 19-year-old college chicks. All they had to do is show up, be nice, and be respectful, and I'll pick and choose the best girls that make me feel the best emotion to bring on the fucking boat, right? The girls are never going to be forced ever to work on their inner game. And so by default, they're not going to, right? They're not going to until they're in their 30s, okay? Because, I mean, I've seen it. My sister's in her 30s, and she's working in her game. She's working on it's really funny how that works. After, like, they hit their late 20s, or they go through a long-term relationship and they break up with their boyfriend after many, many years, and, they've passed their prime, then they're going to have to start working on their game. They're going to have to start developing their spiritual side of themselves. They're going to have to start, meditating and working on self-development. That's how I feel like when women start really, if they ever do take accountability for their own life, it's much later when they're past the prime. They realize, oh, wow, I fucked up, right? But
why
for
do you
guys,
think
it's
that
like we're
happens?
forced
Do
to.
you think? Let me ask you something. Why do you think I had to change mics because my battery's dying? So can you hear me? You okay?
Yeah, can you perfect?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, why do you think that is? Do you think because the tension starts drying up, or do you think they start wising up after getting pumped and dumped for so long?
I think it is that they wise up, right? I think women in their late 20s, early 30s, right, mid 30s, like something clicks and they're like, okay, well, it's not even most women, dude. Like if you look at most women in America, dude, if you look at a girl who's 35 in America, she's probably fat, she's probably horrible energy, and she's probably just blaming men instead of herself, right? She's not taking
Mm,
accountability. As men, we're forced to take accountability. There's no other way. There's no other path to
right.
success except accountability, right? Other men are going to look at you and think you're a fucking loser if you don't take accountability for yourself, right? Anytime I see a guy who's broke or has no girls, I'll tell him straight to his face that he's a fucking loser. And I do it to wake him up, not to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be an asshole. You know what's
No,
funny? A
you
lot
got
of
to
people
give it
think
to
I'm
them
an
straight.
asshole. A lot of
Yeah.
guys think I'm an asshole, dude. A lot of guys think I'm a fucking asshole, right? A lot of my own fans think I'm an asshole because I'll just tell them how it is. Tell them, like, look, you haven't been late in 12 months. You're making fucking $15 an hour. You're only making $2,000 a month, right? Your life's shit, right? Why do you think it is? And they're like, oh, it's the government's fault, society's fault. It's not my fault, dude. It's your fucking fault. You gotta take accountability for yourself, right? And that's the first step. I think that's the first step is taking accountability. Women will never be forced to take accountability, right? And the smart ones will take accountability and start working themselves. But most women will never be forced to ever take accountability, right? They'll offload that onto their father. They'll offload that onto their husband, their boyfriend, right? They'll offload that accountability onto a man, right?
Yeah.
And
I said
it's a
that
funny story.
when
We
I
were on the
was.
boat last Saturday.
Let me see. I want to add to that. I said that
Okay.
on the whatever podcast. Like every time I go back to America, to the West, it seems to me like they're just trying to find more and more ways to take accountability from women and more ways to give more accountability to men. That's what I see every time I
I
go
think it's
back
funny
there.
how that
You
works.
know?
And you know what? I actually think that becomes a superpower because a lot of guys are pussies. They're not going to take accountability for their own lives. A lot of guys, and I would say it's probably not the guys watching this video right now. But if you look at a lot of guys who aren't into self-improvement, a lot of the guys who aren't into self-development, a lot of the guys who aren't into red pill, mental self-improvement, developing oneself, right? A lot of them dudes are pussies, right? There's a lot of guys who have never heard of red pill. There's a lot of guys
Yeah.
out there. Like, I mean, I have a dude who's interned for me right now. He's 36 years old, flat fucking broke, hasn't gone late in at least a year. He's only been with a handful of his girls his whole life, right? I mean, do you think this dude has been taking accountability at all whatsoever for his life, right? And he's taking his first step by asking to intern for me and work for me for free, right? He's taking the first step. I'm like, sure, that's a really smart thing to do. he actually asked for an intern job, and at first I said no, right? But he ended up working with me, and now he's got access to the penthouse. He's got access to everything I do, right? He's around me and my team, and that was a genius thing to do. Now he's taking accountability for his life. Most men will never take accountability for their lives, right? And that's a huge problem. And when you start taking accountability for your life, it almost becomes a superpower. You actually develop more societal power when you take more accountability for your life, right? So I have a funny story for you guys. I was on the boat last Saturday. I was on the yacht, John, last Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a girl hanging off the boat. There's actually two girls, okay? There was Cammie, and she's like, this is a girl I hooked up with last summer. So she's a friend of mine. This is a ratchet bitch, dude. Cammie's a nice girl. She's nice to me, but she's a ratchet fucking hoe, okay? Because she'll like brag about robbing dudes. She'll actually actively brag about how she's like finesse dudes for money. Like I fucked this girl a while back. And there was one night I was at the club and I was like figuring her, and she's like kind of like apologizing to me because one time I lent her money. She actually messaged me saying, "Oh, I need money for groceries." So I sent her like $100 or whatever. She never paid me back, right? And I kind of knew in the back of my head she could be finessing me because she's a friend and she seemed kind of desperate. I'm like, okay, I'll give you $100. And then she kind of avoided me for like months, right? She's like, I'll pay you back. And again, I don't even give a fuck about $100 peasant money. I don't give a fuck, right? But it was about the principle, and I kind of knew she was like finessing me, right? I knew she was like just probably robbing my ass and probably doing this to every other dude. And her best friend actually sent me the money back and said, "Hey, sorry about my friend. You know, she's a dumb bitch." Right? Like, hey, fair enough, right? And I actually appreciated that accountability from her friend. And so I invited them back out to the club, and I thought it was crazy because I'm out with her one night. I'm figuring her. We're about to fuck in the club bathroom, and she starts telling me, she's like, "I used to be a bad girl. I used to rob dudes and finesse dudes and all this stuff." Right? She like loves Cardi B, and she's one of these ratchet bitches. And I just decided not to fuck her because she's like, again, like that's such a feminine characteristic, not accountability, rob dudes, just like that's like what goes through a lot of these girls' heads, right? Again, she's on the boat on Saturday. She's hanging off the boat. Like the boat has left the dock. She's sitting on the fucking boat, and she's like gonna fall in the water. And I'm like, hey, you better not fucking fall in the water. We're gonna have to stop the boat and save you. She's like, no, I can swim. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm not gonna fall off the boat. So we're like halfway through like Lake Ontario. This is a full-on fucking like 60-foot yacht. It is driving fast as fuck. Probably like a 75-foot yacht, right? And she's like taking pictures, and she falls off the fucking boat, gets smacked by the front of the boat, falls under the boat, and then almost gets cut up by the propellers, right? And I told this woman like 12 fucking times not to fall off the boat. And you know what went through my head? What went through my head was, okay, stupid bitch. What the fuck? What went through my head was, this is my fault. It's my fault she fell off the boat because I should have yelled in her fucking face to get the fuck back on the boat. And I should have snapped at her and told her if she didn't fuck get back on the boat, we're going to kick her off the boat. Because there was another girl who's all like, I don't know if this other girl was drunk or it was my first time meeting this other chick. Her name is Isabel. Fucking crazy bitch. This girl was like a little bit off her fucking head. But she kept saying she wants to jump off the boat while the boat was moving. She was trying to jump into like the area where the propellers were. She would like cut her arm off. And I screamed at her. I told her, hey, stay on the fucking boat or you're not going to be allowed on the boat. If you jump off the boat, you're not going to be back on. So this other dumb bitch is in the fucking boat, right? But the other dumb bitch fell off the boat. And we had to fucking, one of my buddies on the boat was a doctor, had to dive in, rescue her, life jacket. You know, it could have, luckily everything was fine, but it could have ended really bad. This girl could have died. And what went through my head was, it was my fucking fault. I had to take responsibility. I had to take accountability. Say, this is my fault, first of all, for inviting a dumb bitch on the boat. Because I knew this girl's a dumb bitch. I still invited her anyway because she's hot. Right? My mistake. I won't make that mistake again. Right? And then I had to realize that, you know, again, it's all related. This is all related in your game. Right? This is all related in your game. Because even myself, I'm like, okay, this is something where I have to improve. Because if I had just a little bit stronger boundaries and took responsibility for that situation, because it's like I predicted that situation before it happened, but I didn't force my frame. I didn't, you know, hold my frame, right? This fucking stupid bitch fell off the boat and caused problems for everyone. And so this is why learning inner game is super, super important. Super important because you're going to develop your frame further, right? You're not going to care if some girl thinks you're an asshole, right? By you fucking yelling at her because you know what you're doing is good for everyone involved. So, you know, I just can't express how important learning this skill set is learning inner game. This is probably the number one skill any man can learn. Learn
I
inner
want
game.
to,
Learn
and I want to.
inner game
It
framework.
definitely is. It definitely is, and I think I want to because I want to build on that story you just said.
Sure.
Going back to what we were talking about with the cancellation,
Yep.
and the crazy girls, right?
Yep.
Do you think that continuously, like, kind of getting burned or being around these idiots kind of hones your crazy girl detector and like strengthens your boundaries? Because for me, like I used to remember Wraith, right? Wraith in the community. Um,
Yep.
Wraith, I would be so shocked when I first met him because he's like, I just have a one. I basically he's like, I basically have a one strike you're out policy, and I was like, man, this guy's
Yep.
like a cold hearted old man. That's what I told him. I was like, you're so cold hearted. That was 2 years ago, but now that I've gotten older and I've experienced a lot, um,
Yeah.
and like one of the relationships I just got out of, like I kept giving him chances and chances and chances, and kept trying and trying and
Can't do it.
trying, but
Can't do
like
it.
it really
Can't do
just
it.
refined me, man. Like, it's so crazy because Pearl, I was on Pearl's show last night. I love Pearl, dude.
Yeah.
And
She's great. I
Pearl,
fucking love her, dude. She's amazing.
dude, she's such a good person. She's like a legitimately good girl,
No, she's
and
she's an incredible human being, dude.
she
She's
really
great.
is, man. I love that chick. She's so awesome. I can't say enough good things about her.
Yeah.
But she told me like what her dad said, and it really changed my life when I heard it. She was like, Dad, do people change? He was like, yeah, they do change. They get worse. And it's so true. Like when you continuously run into crazy people, like for me now, like if a girl, everyone asks a girl out on a date and she's like, oh, sorry, I can't I can't make it or something came up, whatever. Like I don't even reply to her. Like I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Dude, you
don't
shouldn't.
reply. Don't even care. Like
Yeah.
you're garbage human. Get away from me. Um, it's just so unnecessary to just even tolerate people like that in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, dude, when I was in Canada with you, like your Instagram is insane. And I just thought when I was like getting on the flight and like I was in Las Vegas, I was flying to Canada, and I saw your Instagram, I was like, nah, this is like maybe, like he's a marketer. Like this could be like a little embellished. And then like every night we went to the club. Like the first night we like literally had 50 hot girls in the fucking VIP. I was blown away. I couldn't even I was like I, first of all, my image of Canada was just like all fat, angry white women. And so that's completely wrong. And then like when we were in the VIP and like all those girls were on you, all those girls were after you, and like I can't even say what I saw, but I mean, dude, just all these things that you've able to have been able to achieve, even after going through that gigantic fucking cancellation that happened in Mexico. So
Yeah.
I want to talk about enduring, right? Because a lot of people
Yeah. It's super
took
important.
my endure statement out of context, but it's okay. I'm gonna flip it right back on them. I'm gonna do the Andrew Tate Aikido and flip it right back on their head and turn their evil into something good. What would you say is the most beneficial aspect of enduring through shitty times? Because you have had to endure a lot. You've gone through a lot of
Yeah,
bad
dude.
things in your life.
I've been through a lot, dude. I mean, I don't want to be like, I hate talking about the negative things I've been to because I don't want to ever think I'm a victim in any way, shape, or form. But dude, I've been assaulted. I've been in a wheelchair. I've been arrested. I've had it all, dude. I've dealt with some bullshit. Okay. I mean, by the time I was 20 years old, I mean, I had fucking seen it all. Okay. I had like girls' boyfriends try and jump me. I've just seen so much fucking bullshit, dude. It's fucking crazy, right? Plus media scandals. Like, I mean, I've been canceled. I can't tell you guys how many times I've been fucking canceled or attempted cancellations on me. I just think it's hilarious at this point, dude. I don't even think about it at this point. It's funny actually. Last summer, I had a video on TikTok blow up where it was like a 2-minute clip of me talking about how I love cheating. I'm like, cheating on my girlfriend is the best thing I've ever discovered. Right? That video got like 2 million views overnight, and every fucking TikTok feminist on the planet reposted that video and gave their own commentary. And dude, this was all over Instagram. This was all over YouTube. This was all over TikTok. It was seen by tens of millions of people, right? And everywhere I went, people knew me from this video, right? Girls at the club would be like, "Oh my God, I've seen you on TikTok. Oh my God, you're that guy who cheats on his girlfriend. Oh my God, you're that guy." I'm like, dude, I just don't give a fuck. I just laugh my ass off, right? It's actually, when I say that didn't affect me in the slightest, like it didn't even phase me at all. Like it didn't even like, bro, it didn't even like, it's like, boom, like falls off me. Like I didn't even think about it. I'm like, dude, the average guy would get that kind of attention and want to kill themselves because they wouldn't be able to handle it. Like I got fucking like completely canceled last summer, but I don't even think about it. Like, you know what's funny? Like as we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, like kind of think of it, I did get canceled last summer. Like it didn't even register in my brain because I've just become so fucking resilient from, you know, Cody Ko making a hit piece on me that got 3 million views, right? Or like back in the day, Leafy's here back in 2016 made a hit piece on me. It got 1 million views overnight, right? The Mexico media scandal that, like, again, we were in the Daily Mail, Forbes, Al Jazeera. Like, we're in the news in France. I've never been to France. Like, what the fuck? Right? We're in the news in Spain. We're in the news all over Latin America. Dude, I was in the news in Bolivia. I've never been to Bolivia, right? You know, I was seeing all over the world after that media scandal, right? So the thing that happened last summer, like a little TikTok thing, like it doesn't even faze me in the slightest. Like the clubs I host at, the management was seeing that video and like, again, I don't give a fuck. I just thought it was hilarious, right? I thought it was funny, if anything, right? If anything, it gets me laid because every time I walk up to girls now, they're like, "Where do I know you from?" Anytime I do cold approach or do day game, girls recognize me. Again, that video has been seen by tens of millions of people, right? All my cancellation videos together combined, tens of millions of people. So I think it's really funny because, I mean, girls will kind of recognize me, but they just don't know where from. So I always find that really, really interesting. So if anything, it's made my game easier because it's almost like there's a familiarity when I meet new girls in the first place. So I think it's kind of funny how it works. So it's almost like just changing my mindset, changing my perspective, right? Because how do you know those bad things that happen to you are bad things? Right? A lot of people don't know that, like the bad thing that happens in your life, how do you know it's a bad thing? Right? Because everything in life leads you to the next thing, right? Every experience you have leads you to the next moment, right? And so the bad things that happen, you don't know that's necessarily a bad thing. And a lot of times those bad things lead to good things, right? So in the moment when I was getting canceled in Mexico, I thought that was a horrible, horrible fucking problem. But years later, I realized, man, if that scandal didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I mean, when the Mexico media scandal happened, I started taking, because I thought next step was getting my bank accounts canceled. So I started taking money and throwing into Bitcoin, right? And a lot of money. And this is August 2020. So, I mean, think about it, guys. Think about it. August 2020, check the Bitcoin price charts. I started taking my money from August 2020, December 2020, just offloading tons of cash into Bitcoin, right? So think about what happened after that, right? I didn't really need to work, right? It was COVID lockdown. I didn't need to work. I felt like I was retired for a solid like almost 2 years. I pretty much was like borderline retired. You know, I didn't really need to fucking work at all, right? And so it's crazy how that works. So the bad things that happen oftentimes lead you to the most important lessons of your life, right? And I think this is the number one lesson you'll learn in inner game. It's that everything happens for a reason, but you give meaning to those experiences, right? Otherwise, if you don't work on the inner game, you don't unwire those traumas, you don't work on yourself. The problem is you'll never actually learn from those experiences and you'll never have given those negative experiences meaning. Right? So all those bad things that happened have allowed me to have very, very strong personal boundaries. I mean, John, MLD, right? You've seen it yourself. You flew out to Toronto to meet me. You've been around my girls. You've been around my girlfriends. You met my main girl who's got my name tattooed on her. I remember you telling me, don't tattoo your name on her. She might regret it. There could be a bad thing, right? What's done is done, right? You met a lot of my girls, dude. You met a lot of the girls in my life. And you saw how much bullshit I have to fucking deal with, dude. You saw the drama. You saw me hook up with that chick. Remember Justice, that model? And then she had a psychotic episode at the end of the night. She was just acting crazy. She was like on fucking drugs. And I'm dealing with shit like this every single fucking weekend. But the difference is, you know, as time goes on, stronger boundaries, stronger personal boundaries, stronger principles. And these days, dude, I don't deal with any bullshit. I don't deal with any bullshit, right? And so, I mean, certain women will get certain strikes. Like, for example, you met Gabby, my assistant. She had pretty much like 10 strikes because she was managing my whole life and she was working on specific projects. But after she crossed certain boundaries, she's gone. She's let go and never hear from her again, right? Even last Friday, there was a girl who I invited on a boat like a month ago. And I was under the impression that she might have been like kind of shit talking me because she was telling one of my girlfriends, oh, Justin, to respect you, you know, she should only be dating you. She should be dating all these other girls, right? And I saw her saying this kind of thing in front of my own fucking eyes at the nightclub. I screamed in her face, told her, mind your own fucking business. I don't know you. You don't know me. You come to my parties, you think you know me? You don't know me. Get the fuck on my table. I'm like, get on my table. We're done. I'm unfollowing from Instagram. Blocked her. Told her, get the fuck on my table. You should just not allowed my parties anymore. Strong boundary. Told my this is my second girlfriend. I told her she's not allowed to hang out with this girl anymore. Told her hard line, you're not allowed to hang out with this girl anymore. She's a fucking problem, right? I know you know that fucking problem, dude. The girls were talking to your girl's ear, planting ideas, planting seeds of doubt in their ear. Got to get rid of those girls. And I saw it. Dude, in real fucking time, I put a fucking stop to it. I was super nice to that chick, right? I invited her on the boat. She's talking shit. I invited her to the club to my table. She's talking shit. The second strike, when I saw it in my own eyes, line in the sand, done. She's gone, right? Never have to deal with that bullshit again, right? You know the best part about getting rid of these girls? I was talking about, you remember Matt Levine, one of my best friends, right? We're talking about getting rid of girls when they cross their boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For a lot of guys, it hurts. But for guys like me, it's actually good. It creates space for new women in my life, right? Because I only have limited mental bandwidth of how much space I can bring. You know, I can only bring a certain amount of women into my life, right? There's not enough space for most of these women, right? So if girls fuck up, if they make even one mistake, I can bring a new, beautiful, hotter, younger girl in my life, right? There's extra space now, right? And so it's good when girls fuck up. There's more room at the table. There's more room in my penthouse. There's more room in my bedroom, right? Dude, dude, it's fucking crazy. I had 3 girls sleep in my bed the other day, and there's no room for me to sleep, right? If one of these girls fuck up, good, get rid of them. Place her with a hotter, more beautiful, more respectful, more compliant woman, right? So, and all this comes down to learning good inner game. All this comes down to learning good inner game habits, inner game framework, and all this. I'll tell you this, John, I think this is your most powerful program. I think inner game healing is your most powerful program. And that's why I believe it's the most successful program you have, right? I think it's the program that you have that, I mean, Masculine Empowerment Network is great. I mean, if you look at the amount of guys you have adding value there, the coaches you have, the network, the collective body count, you know, everyone there, so successful. But if you look at the problems we solve from inner game healing, I mean, dude, we're just solving the deepest problems, right? Because here's the thing. I feel like coaching in general, like Masculine Empowerment Network, you're going to learn how to make more money. You're going to learn fitness. You're going to learn all these other things to help you get to those higher levels, right? But if you actually look at inner game healing, we're actually solving the foundational problems. We're solving decades of trauma. We're solving a lifelong depression. We're solving, you know, a 10-year sexual dry spell. We're solving, you know, deep pain. So that's why I believe, you know, inner game healing is your absolute best, like the best community ever. Because I mean, the guys in that, man, they're just solving the problems at the deepest level. And I'll say this, man, I will never see a guy who makes it a high level of success without working the inner game. You look at any Fortune 500 CEO, right? Look at any high level YouTuber. Look at any big game public speaker, right? It's crazy. Look at the average CEO. You know what their daily routines are? A lot of the same inner game healing habits, meditation, fitness.
Chamath talks to
talk about.
You know Chamath? I forget his last name. He's the Indian guy. He was early in on Facebook.
I know what you're talking
Chamath.
about. It's a billionaire.
Yeah, he talks.
He's early at
talks.
Bitcoin.
I think he talks to. He says he talks to his therapist like every morning.
Yeah, it's super important. Super important. If you look at the most successful men in society, I mean, they have to have checks and audits. Imagine how much pressure they're dealing with. Imagine how much stress they're dealing with. Imagine how much money a lot of these guys are dealing with, right? And so one thing could set them off. One little thing could set them off, right? And so they need to make sure their game is always dealt with.
and I want to dive into that real quick. Narcissist Podcast 5.99 euro says that skinny TI gangsta wannabe is a snake. I watched the whole thing recently. We still love you and believe in you, Jonathan. You killing it. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's talk about that because you watched. I don't even say this loser's name because that's all he is. That guy's
Not
never
worth
going to
saying.
amount to it. Yeah, he's
He
never going to
fucking
amount
loses
to
it.
anything with that business strategy. He's never going to amount to
Yeah.
anything. That guy's never made $1 million in a month. He's never made $1 million in a couple of days like I have, and so he'll never get to our level. Complete bum.
Not even
But
close.
let's talk about that when you start to elevate, because it's funny. Like when you start to elevate your inner game, right? Everything else starts to elevate, whether you want to or not. You just naturally start to evolve, and then the snakes come. The people who pretend to be
Absolutely.
friends, who
Absolutely.
want to try and tear you down for all these things, right? Um, do you have any commentary on that, or any advice or any perspective? Because I think
Yeah, for sure.
a lot of people think that you know the majority of humans are good people and the majority of people are good, and I'm starting to realize I think it's the opposite. I think the majority of people are snakes. The majority of people are shit out there.
You know what's funny? I always had the same impression. I don't know what it was. I think it's I grew up really religious, right? Like my family's Catholic. My dad instilled a lot
Yeah.
of values into me, and so I think
Mhm.
I just assumed that everyone out there was a good person, right? Especially when I was doing game. Like I used to just walk up to everyone smiling. It's like there's old videos of me when I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, doing cold approach. And I was just so being with energy, so excited to talk to just anybody because I just assumed everyone was like me. It seemed everyone was a positive person. I think that's why you and me get along really well, and we have very similar values. Like I genuinely think from the bottom of my heart, we're both genuinely good, clean-hearted, kind-hearted people, right? Who just
Yeah.
expect the best out of everyone, right? And I think we both get taken advantage of. I mean, in the past, I don't let people take advantage of me now, but I know in the past, I've gone taken advantage of a lot. I see you in real
Yeah.
time getting taken advantage of all the time by these people on YouTube, people you thought were good people, right? You expect. I mean, like look how amazing Pearl is, right? But then you
I
compare
know.
Pearl to the other people you've done collaboration videos with, and then they'll kind of try to snake you or come out of left field and try to like blindside you and sucker punch you, right? And so I know exactly what the video you're talking about. You tried to make peace with this dude. He comes out of left field and tries to fucking slander your name. But what could he really say about you and your character? He couldn't say anything. All he could say is, "I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm gonna kick your ass." And dude, you were just being so cordial, so respectful. You're just like sitting there, like, "Are you done, bro? You're done having a fucking roid rage? You're done having a temper tantrum?
Oh
You're
God,
fucking
it was
angry.
so funny. It's
You're
so
like an
funny
angry
because like
dog, dude."
the guy, all he could do is box too. He has no ground game. He has no wrestling training. Nothing. I was like, dude, you like, and that's a perfect example of someone who's ragingly insecure. If you have to be like, well, I went to this university and I did this and I did
Oh
that
man,
and I did all
it's
these
just so
like
bad.
it's just like, okay, then why are you live streaming from a fucking potato? Like, why do you dress like a homeless person? Why, like, if you're so rich and famous and amazing, like, why are you even talking to me if you're better than me? Oh, because you need my clout. Because it's just so funny to see the
Not even
the
just
people
that,
that are just so
bro.
ragingly insecure. Because, like, I'm a guy. You know how successful I am behind the
Yeah,
scenes. I don't need to go up there and be
of
like,
course, of
I'm
course.
this and I'm that and I'm top this and I'm look at my fucking everything. I don't need to say that because in my heart of hearts, like you've met me too in real life. You spend time with me.
Yeah, of course.
Like I'm not
Yeah,
like an insecure person. I'm not like a jealous person. I'm like a pretty zen, chilled out person in real life. You know,
yeah. You're
I think
very
it's a
chill.
direct reflection. I think like it's a direct reflection of people's internal turmoil for them to lash out and go
Yeah,
crazy like that.
yeah. Well, you know what really stood out to me in that stream is where your head was at and where his head was at, because
Yeah,
there's just saying losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning. And you literally want to make peace. You want to be higher conscious. You were saying, "Hey, man, like, do you think you're being a good role model right now?" Like, that's what stood out to me. That's where your head was at, right? And he just wants to tear you down. He wants to bring you down to his level and fight you there. And here's the thing: you can actually never, ever fight with dudes who are lower level than you, because here's what you do. You step off the throne and you go down to their level, and they'll beat you at their level because he's used to playing in the dirt. He's used to being a dirty rat bitch like he is. He's used to fucking playing these weird manipulation games and power games. So, of course, he's going to beat you there, right? Of course, he's going to seem like that, right? Because you're so much, you're meant to be up here. He will never get there, right? He can't beat you at your level because he can never get there, right? And so, I mean, it's crazy. It's like, there's no point. So remember when I was telling you, like, look, don't respond to these people. Don't try to debate them. Because that was my advice for you. It's like, don't try to even argue with these people. They're unreasonable.
Yeah.
They're unreasonable individuals, right? They're going to take anything you give them, and they're going to make a mountain out of a molehill and try to make you look bad any way they can, right? They don't care about the truth. All they care about is using your name and your clout to push their own agenda. All they care about is trying to make you look bad so they can make themselves feel better about themselves, right? But they're nobodies. They're literal losers, and you need to avoid those people in general, right? I think the response video you made to clear your name was actually a really good move in the way, because you waited a long time. You waited a very long time to calm down, settle down, be non-emotional, and look at things objectively and break everything apart and be like, look, this is my objective truth, right? But it's really hard to do that when this guy's being emotional, is screaming at you, swearing at you, calling you names, doing all these things.
I just think it's funny how
they're guy's gonna look at that. Well, look, a high level dude's gonna look at that and they're gonna be like, "Hey, this dude's a fucking rat bitch. John's the G, right?" But all his audience, look at his audience. His audience, of course, is gonna side with him, but his audience are all low level dudes just like him, right? His audience is broke. His audience are fucking losers. So of course, it's gonna be like, "Oh wow, like everyone's shitting on you." That's why it's really important, like when you're getting canceled, when these things are happening, like just don't read the hate comments. And the other thing is, if you're an audience member watching this drama, see things through your own eyes. Don't read the comments and be influenced by the comments. Don't watch the streamers and be influenced by the streamers. See things through your own eyes and your own opinion. And I think that's the number one thing someone can have from inner game healing is you actually like unbrainwash yourself and you see things through your own objective experience. And that's the most important thing. You don't become a sheep just following the herd. That's super, super important.
Yeah. I mean, and this whole thing, honestly though, I'm glad that this happened with a no-name loser. Like this guy's a complete nobody. I had no idea who he was until someone sent me a live stream of him talking shit about me. But then after that, I like called a couple people. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And like this guy's pissing a lot of people off too behind the scenes. That's also a bad strategy, just going around making enemies everywhere. But it's okay. I really don't care because that guy's never going to amount to anything. And looking at the whole thing, I got a lot. Like my thing is this too: the people with intelligence who witnessed this entire thing, the Endure thing, all of this, people with intelligence could objectively look at what is happening at the time of like this whole like smear campaign, if you will. Smart people looked at it and were like, okay, like these people are just pieces of shit and they're just trying to tear him down.
Absolutely.
So the low IQ people will, chimp out with him, but the fucking smart people will understand like, okay, here's the deal. Like, here's the real situation. And those are the people I want to reach out to, right? Our message is not for the masses. Our message is for the people who are willing to do the work, who are willing to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, hey, you know what? I did fuck up. Like, you know what? I'm not doing as good as I need to do. You know what? I need to do better. You know what? That was my fault. That wasn't my fault. You know what? I need to cut this person out of my life. I need to adhere to a higher level of standards in my personal living. Those are the kind of people that I'm looking for to spread the message to. Because I care all about quality and not about quantity. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's why like when I buy things, I have a couple luxury goods, but I'm not buying tons and tons of luxury goods. Like I only have one watch, right? But my watch is fucking pretty amazing. It's it's a collector item. They don't make them anymore. It's a one of a kind. I don't have a lot of pairs of shoes, and the shoes that I have are all like, top of the line, like top material that I could wear when I go on all
Absolutely.
these podcasts and, show that I'm a professional. So I just care about quality over quantity, right? And I think when you have to, when you're going through these tough times, right? You really have to endure because there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a large
100%.
quantity of low value attacks at you, but you need to look at the quality people and look and see who's saying what. And all the quality people in my life during this time were just like, look, this is clearly a baseless attack, and everybody's
Yeah.
like using lies and manipulation. And another thing is too, like the whole backbone of this whole thing, right? Is that crazy Irish guy who fucking leaked all these messages and shit and like, you know, edited them out of context and all this shit. I kicked him out of my life because I thought he was a loser and a liability. And all he's done right now is what? Proven me 100% to be right in my judgment. So again, I'm glad this is happening now with all these low level people because now it's just made me smarter. Now it's made me way more aware. And now I understand true value in the people I have around me versus shitty people. From 2022, I did a lot of work and with here Apex Mindset, who gave a $4.99 super chat. Two incredible people on the same show. Good afternoon, guys. What's up, Paul?
What's up,
Too.
Paul?
I've done a lot of inner game work. I've done a lot. 2022, I've been working on myself nonstop. 2023 too. I had to kick people out of my life this year as well because as you continue to go and grow and grow and grow, you can't, like, people are either sails or they're anchors. You know what I mean? People are either helping you fly and go to your destination or they're holding you down and dragging you behind. And I've learned to be in touch with myself now that I can feel that energy of the person and be like, okay, this person's a sail, this person's an anchor. And as soon as I feel that like anchor energy, even if it rears its head once, I'm out. Like, I'm just, check please, peace, I gotta go. Like, I understand now why Mark Zuckerberg married his Chinese girlfriend when fucking Facebook took off. You know what I mean? Because he had to grab someone close to him that he can trust and be like, all right, like, are you going to be with me on this journey? We're going to
Definitely.
go to the top or not? Because, dude, I mean, imagine all the snakes that come after Zuckerberg, bro.
Of
Like,
course, dude.
Snake
Of
City,
course. I mean, you've seen that movie where he's getting sued by his old friend, his old people he did business with, and everyone's coming after you, right? And it's crazy. I feel like the universe doesn't give you what you want; it gives you what you need, right? And it's
Mm.
funny because I mean, think about this: if you were still friends with that Irish guy, he'd be micro snaking you. He wouldn't be snaking you on the front end; he'd be snaking you on the
Yeah.
back end. He'd be trying to fuck your girls. He'd be trying to
Dude,
steal money from you.
let's
It'd be
talk
very
about that.
subtle.
No, it was funny because one time I had a Halloween party, right? Because I used to throw the biggest parties because I had money, I had clout, I had status. He's a fucking loser English teacher. He's broke. He has no money. Nobody likes him. Girls don't stay with him. They always realize he's a loser. It's always one and done with him. And one time I had him over and he was like trying to hit on the girl that I was with that night. And I kind of just let it slide by. And like there was a couple nights, like one time I went out to this club and there's this like hot Japanese girl with blonde hair. And like he like told me to go hit on her. And he's like, I bet you can't get her. I was like, sit down, Junior. Right. And I went over there and I tried like, throwing it down and then I ended up making out with her super hot Japanese girl, right? And so later that night, he was just like so like angsty and upset. He said, man, he's like, you care if I go talk to her? I was like, no, go ahead. You go talk to her, got rejected. So those little things that I didn't really, that, like when you like someone, you overlook the things that you probably
Yeah.
shouldn't overlook. And now that I look back with a clear perspective on things, I could see that it was just Snake City. And I just, sometimes you just don't want to see,
Well,
you
he
hope
wanted
to
to
see
be
the
you.
good in people. Huh?
Yeah, he wanted to be you, right? And
Oh, I
you
know.
thought he was a good person. But here's the thing. Now imagine this, right? Imagine if you had people like him in your life. Imagine all your friends were like him. You wouldn't have guys like me and Paul in your corner, right?
No.
Because we would see the people you're hanging out with, and we'd want to avoid you because we're worried about the company you keep. So it's super important. It's super important that you be slow to hire, fast to fire. You get rid of the wrong people very quickly, right? When you see people fuck up, right, you get rid of them. You got to make sure you have the right people in your corner who have your back. It's super, super important, right? I mean, there's so many snakes out there. It's super important to be a good person.
And it was so wild too because my mentor is a guy that's like he's closed like 9-figure deals for himself, not other companies. Like he has done 9-figure exits. And when he met him and this other guy I used to work with, and they're both in Tokyo. And he was always telling me when we were like, he was like, "Why do you hang out with those losers?" He's like, "Why are
Yeah.
you associating with these bums?" And I was just like, in my head, I was like, "Nah, this guy's old. He doesn't get it." You know, I was kind of like
Yeah.
arrogant at the time. But now that I look back on it, I was like, dude, this guy was 1,000% correct, man. Like a
Yeah,
thousand,
you see
thousand,
things you
thousand
don't,
percent correct.
right? So you gotta trust people's judgment with, especially like somebody's doing better than you or somebody's making more money than you or crushing it at the highest level. You gotta trust their judgment because I mean their advice is come from a good place because I mean they're doing better than you. They have nothing to gain from giving you that advice, right?
Yeah.
But someone who's not doing as good as you, I mean, I would never take advice from people unless I'd be willing to trade places with them, right? And so
Yeah.
like I wouldn't take financial advice from someone who's poorer than me. I wouldn't take dating advice from someone who's having as good of a dating life as me, right? I literally have like 4 girlfriends. I have 4 girls who call themselves my girlfriend, right? And I mean, 2 of these girls, like one of them been seeing for like 5 months, one of them been seeing for 6 months. And so I have like 2 like medium term girlfriends, right? I mean, why would I take dating advice from anybody who isn't doing better than me, right? I can only take, relationship advice, dating advice from guys who are doing way better than me, right? And so you got to be really careful with what kind of information that comes into your head, right? And especially your friends, when a lot of times when friends give you advice, I mean, are they giving you the right advice? This is why I think intergame healing is so important, is the community aspect, right? Because it's the leaders in that community, or even like the peers you're having in the community are going to be, there's always going to be someone in that community who's doing better than you in some area of life. And so it's so important that, when intergame healing launches, it's so important that you guys jump in and take the opportunity, right? Because I know later in the year when you do, their launch, the price is going to be going up, right?
Mhm.
And, the guys aren't going to have this opportunity again at this price point, or even just to get in and start working on this skill set now. Because the question is like, if you're not working on your inner game now, it's when will you? Right? If you're not working on your inner game now, guys, like when will you work on your inner game? Like you're gonna put this out for another year. If you don't solve these problems now, what do you think your life's gonna look like 5 years from now? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, do you imagine if you're 30? Do you want to wake up at 35 years old, have the same set of problems you have today because you decided not to work on your game, because you decided not to, focus on that area of development because you didn't want to let go of trauma, you weren't ready, waiting for the perfect time. There's no perfect time. You got to start now. You got to start today. You got to make a decision to jump in, right? You got to get on the list, right? I mean, the guys can go to the website right now, right? Intergame Healing, and put their email in and get tons of free value. I mean, they'll be on your email list. They'll get a ton of free value, ton of free information.
Oh,
Right? There's zero downside doing that today. There's zero downside to going to Intergame Healing Summit, putting in your information, putting in your email, and being part of the community starting today, right? And then when it launches on June 29th, get in the game.
And like, another thing is too, like, do you know who Layla Hormozi is?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so dude, I DM'd her and we had a little back and forth.
That's cool.
Like she saw my stuff, and so Brandon Carter knows Alex, and then I had a little back and forth with her because she's been going through some shit with haters too, right? And because she got a nose job, and then everybody's like, "Oh, you're ugly, you're this, you're that," and they're just like tearing her apart, and it's just like, bro, this woman just turned 30, and she manages $100 million portfolio of companies.
Yeah.
Like she could fucking be totally mutilated in the face and it wouldn't even matter because she's not like leading with her beauty. She's leading with her intellect. But it just blows my mind because I watch her content and I'm just like, this lady is fucking a G. And like, it takes a lot for me to like, because everybody in America like endlessly jerks women off for no reason. It takes a lot for me to give like cred to a woman, but like her, like, dude,
she's killing it.
She's irrefutably like if you say anything negative about her as a businesswoman, like it's like clear as fuck you're a hater. You're just a fucking low level hater. And even with her going through shit like that, she just says, always own it and then just say fuck it. Like, fuck these people. But, seeing people like that paying attention to me, like No Jumper wants to have me on. Who knows? I don't know if they're going to ambush me. I don't think they would. I told him straight up, I was like, look, I am not in line for any kind of ambush. If he tries to try to ambush me, I do not want to fucking deal with it. Like, I do not want clout. I do not like clout. I'm not on YouTube for clout. I'm on YouTube the same reason I'm on since 2019, helping men. And I clearly
You
state that.
should definitely go on the.
Oh, probably am. I probably am. But like, I just don't want any drama. I don't want any bullshit. I mean, it would be funny if I'm not even gonna say it. I'll tell you offline. But I'm not really like in this for clout. And it's like, dude, when I went on the whatever podcast in January, like I didn't plan to go super viral. There's a fucking fan club of me in Singapore. I didn't even know about this. There's a Singapore fan
It's
club about
hilarious.
me. Um,
It's so
so
funny.
it's hilarious. It is super hilarious. I mean, I'm 2 for 2 going viral on my last 2 tours. So,
Yeah, you're right.
two
That's
for
pretty
two,
insane.
2 for 2 going mega viral. So shout out to Real Jake Paul, 199 super chat says, "You inspire me, MLD." Thank you. He follows up with a 499. I had a friend and used to send him Layla H videos, and he would completely ignore her advice and call her ugly. I left that front and make 100K plus now. Look at that, bro. Big ups to you, Jake Paul. Big ups to you. But again, it's just all about life is about enduring. And like, look at you, right? You're another example of cancellation doesn't work. You were canceled. I'm not going to say how much money you make, but you're making a lot of money. You're doing very good. Like that penthouse you're in there is not fucking some Airbnb. Like you live there. I've been there. That's where we shot the Intergame Healing Summit or the Hot Dude Con Intergame special in Toronto, where we all gave our speech. And you know, I just want to tell people like my message is still pure. You saw the context of my message about endure and
Yeah,
people are just pussies
100%.
nowadays. People just give up. You understood the context of what I was saying,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on just enduring through hard times and just close it out with your statement on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I was a really good example of someone who could have easily just rolled over and said, okay, it said I got canceled, right? Could have easily rolled over and said, you know what, this is it, I'm done, got canceled, this is the end, right? And I decided to endure, push through, work on your game, work on these things. I'm like, I mean, my whole life has been me just enduring. Dude, I'm 5'4". I've always been the shortest. Dude, there's pictures of me. I could show you. I could go back, find old photos of me in like elementary school and like the class photos. And I was always the smallest kid. I was always the shortest one. I was always the smallest guy, right? So I was always getting picked on and bullied. And I endured and made it past that. And then I've always struggled with weight. So I've always been a really skinny guy. And now I'm working out every day, putting on a ton of weight. I'm working on that. Then, I mean, I had every reason to be broke. I mean, I grew up in an immigrant household. My parents like fucking immigrated from a third world country, right? I grew up poor. Like I didn't grow up rich. And now I'm self-made, wildly successful. Like I'm super successful, right? And I mean, I've had months where I make over 100 grand, right? A month, right? Which is insane. And I've done it. I've done so well with women. I've slept with over 400 women, multiple girlfriends. I just had every reason not to succeed, every problem, every issue, and I've just endured over, and over. Come back full circle, work on my inner game, right? Gone to higher levels, gone problems again, come full circle, work on that inner game again, and just, it's like every time you work on your inner game, it's like you're just strengthening your inner core, right? You're just making yourself stronger and more resilient and more powerful and more savage and more of a go-getter, more confident, and just a better person in general, right? And so it's super, super important that you guys learn these skills, learn how to endure, learn how to stick at it, learn inner game healing at this level, and learn how to solve these problems at the root cause. Because once you learn inner game, you've figured out the process to really solve all your problems in life. And so, yeah, if you do want to go make 100K a year or more, if you do want to make gains in your dating life, if you do want to crush it in the gym, if you want to crush it in all areas, money, muscles, game frame, in all areas that you're talking about, John, we got to make sure that you work on your inner game and endure and stay strong and learn these skills, because here's the most important part, right? A lot of people will only work on the inner game when times are tough. But actually, what you got to do is you got to work on your inner game now. So that way, if your girl leaves you, if your girlfriend leaves you, your wife leaves you, you've got the mental framework to be able to handle through that situation and barrel through. If you get canceled, you could be an average guy, dude. I mean, look, there was a guy part of the Toronto Blue Jays who just went out publicly, or I think he just tweeted saying, like, you know, he doesn't support Pride Month, or it was a very subtle thing, and he got kicked out of the baseball team. He got kicked out of the Toronto Blue Jays. And like, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. It's freedom of expression, freedom of speech, right? Everyone, it's because he's religious, right? At some point, you know, religious beliefs, it's crazy how, you know, gay rights now outpace religious beliefs, and that's the world we live in. And we don't have freedom of speech. And I have no problem with gay people at all. Like, I have a lot of lesbian friends I grew up with, right? I used to run game and go to clubs and pick up chicks with lesbian girls, right? So I have no problem with, like, bisexual chicks, whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck, right? Everyone's free to do whatever they want. But the problem is now you can get canceled for having an opinion. It has nothing to do about gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever. You know, everyone can do whatever the fuck they want. I don't give a fuck, right? But the fact is, you can't speak out now. You can't go out there and have an opinion without getting canceled, right? You can't give your 2 cents on things without having your life, your income, your platform taken away from you. That's crazy, right? That's really crazy to me, right? That's insane, right? And so you got to prepare yourself. You got to prepare your inner game. You got to prepare your life for any possible scenario, right? Whether it's a family member getting sick and passing away, whether it's, you know, the sky fucking falling, whether it's, you know, whatever problems we can't even predict. You got to prepare your inner game to make sure you are 100% ready to handle anything life could throw at you, okay? It's super important that everyone handles it. I mean, John, if you hadn't worked on your inner game, you wouldn't even be able to handle the positive or the negative attention. Even the positive attention could fuck with your head a little bit, right? And so it's super important that everyone works on the inner game and, you know, solidifies your inner game. So the point where you're not even affected, right, by these snake ass bitches, or by these people trying to cancel you, or by the opposition. You're not even affected. Dude, there's people out here in Toronto who fucking want my head. And I don't even fucking. It doesn't. You don't even get affected by it at a certain point, right?
No, and I'm really not. Like when all the scandal shit was happening, you know what I did? I booked a trip for me and my mom to go to Kyoto, and I took her hiking, and my mom stayed with me for 3 months in Japan. I took her to Hiroshima. I took her to Kyoto. We stayed in the nicest places. I bought her the highest quality organic food.
Amazing.
I helped her diet. She lost 25 pounds. She looked younger when she left, and she was so happy. She understands the fundamentals of fasting. Like, she's 57, so fasting is good for you at that age. High protein, processed food. She understands now, because she just always wanted to do cardio. It's like, no, you got to do weights, and then throw cardio in at the end. And, you know, I was just teaching her the fundamentals of all this stuff. And it was just so funny because my mom is just like the ultimate cheerleader. Like we would be sitting around watching like Tony Robbins. She's like, "You're smarter than Tony Robbins." I feel like, you know, we would see some good looking guy on TV. She's like, "You're more handsome than that guy." You know, she's just the ultimate cheerleader. And I was just sitting there having a good time with my mom, laughing, taking care of her, paying for everything, helping her lose weight, like bringing joy into her life. My family was talking to me, my close friends like you, Paul, Wraith, Ryan Fowler from Inner Masculine, you know, my guys behind the scenes, you know, my number one intern, who I like to keep him anonymous. Like, he's a great guy too. And then like all these just wonderful people around me. And I was like, you know what? This is what matters. These relationships.
100%.
And then again, the platform, everything I do is not to be popular. It's not for clout. It's not any of that. It's just to help men. I have been consistent with that. That's why I started online. I started an online coaching business. I'm fucking very good at what I do. I'm very, very good at what I do because I have done it for myself. I pulled myself from the fucking trenches of abject poverty, emotional abuse, physical abuse, you name it, it happened to me. And I'm able to become a guy in the top 1% of people. It talk about finances, talk about YouTube channels, like you name it, I'm out here making waves happen. So if I could do it for my life, I can absolutely coach it for everybody else. Like success is not an accident. A lot of people just say, "Oh, you just got lucky." No. There's no luck. It looks like I'm an overnight success now because a lot of people don't know. I started my YouTube channel in 2015. That's when I started my YouTube channel. And so looking at all these things that's happened to me, the most important component I will say is absolutely inner game. And I'm not just saying that because on June 29th, we're doing the Inner Game Healing Summit and I'm trying to like lie and manipulate to the audience, to, like get you to sign up. Okay. I'm telling you dead ass, looking at what I was doing in my past and looking at how, honestly speaking, like for me too, like, you know, I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 10 years older than you actually. But at this point in my life too, right now, I have realized like in my inner game journey that like constantly like hooking up with like low value women or like pursuing casual sex so much, I've realized that is a low value behavior. That is a low value and a negative ROI that a lot of people endorse. And it was funny, I was coming to those conclusions on my own. And like some people were like, "Oh, this guy's, you know, he's coping, he's this, he can't hang anymore." And it's like, bro, you saw what's on the sofa right now, you'd shut up. But but you know, uh, the point I'm trying to make is that when I was coming to these conclusions, I had received some outside hate. But then my great mentor, Brandon Carter, who is like a fucking elite level alpha male, top level fucking G, dude, he made $10 million on one fucking click funnel.
That's crazy.
$10 million on one fucking funnel, bro. That is
Insane.
insane. And he was talking about it too. He's like out here chasing these hoes, chasing these like fucking low level bitches and shit like that. That shit is absolutely a low ROI activity that is not going to get you anywhere because you have to deal with drama. I mean, look at you. You're dealing with that crazy bitch. What if that bitch got cut up and killed in that fucking boat? It's like you dodged a bullet. You dodged a gigantic bullet, right? If I see some crazy bitch, and I understand it now that I'm older, but like, you know, and the same thing with the valuetainment money. When all those girls were like yelling at me, I was just like, all right, cool. You know what? You girls win. You're better than me. Congratulations. Because I know I got a bigger, higher purpose. And if I'm going to sit there and argue with these fucking girls
We're
and
not
be
getting
late,
anywhere.
for my fucking
Yeah.
show with my mentor,
No,
multi-million
not
dollar
allowed.
earning mentor. Like, I'm not trying to show up late to fucking my mentor who invited me on his million plus YouTube channel. Be like, "Oh, sorry, bros. Oh, I was dunking on these hoes, bro." Like, like, that's low value fucking monkey brain shit. You know, that's like chimpanzee behavior. That's like chimpanzee IQ. I ain't no fucking monkey. I'm not a fucking chimp. I'm a fucking grown ass man. And so internalizing that and being okay, but like for me too, like if the masses, if the masses are like anti me, I'm like, I'm more reassured that I'm doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Once the masses start
Yeah,
like
because look at the
really,
average person, dude. The average person's a fucking loser, dude. So they should hate you. It's good that they
yeah,
don't like you. It's not a bad
yeah,
thing that they don't like you. It's a very good thing they don't like you.
yep, yep. You know, and so yeah, look at this guy, top 1%, LOL, get real. He doesn't even, he can't even, they don't get it. They don't get it,
No,
you know?
he won't ever understand. I mean, look, not only what's the top what income puts you top 1% in America?
$480,000 a year.
So if you're
And
making more than that, you're in the top 1%.
that's household.
Yeah.
If you're a single individual like me, doing, you know, the numbers I'm doing, we can't say them on YouTube because the IRS is watching. But 1%? No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
No, and then if you look at your other metrics of success, I mean, you're like going absolutely viral. That would put you into 1% of people with clout, right? And then, I mean, look at the dating results you've had. If you've slept with over 100 women, that would put you in the top 0.5% of guys. And I know you've had way more success than that. So, I mean, like, and now you compare all those numbers together, all those metrics together, dude, you're like a 0.0001% man, right? It's insane. Like, you're an anomaly of a human being, right?
Yeah. And then, but the people, the low level conscious people, they don't know how to endure. They don't know how to persevere. They don't know how to persist. They quit at everything they try, and then they give their time and attention to little short money shortcuts here. I want to make fast money here. I want to do drop shipping. I want to be a copywriter. I want to be fucking crypto millionaire. I want to do real estate. I want to do this. And you're all over the place. You got to pull it all back, put all your energy into one thing that you want to make money, and fucking ride that ship to the top.
Absolutely.
That's how you fucking get great, you know? So
100%.
a lot of people don't get that. And then a lot of people too, because they're so low level, their consciousness is not elevated to the point that they believe that this is possible, right? If you don't think something's possible, no amount of affirmations, no amount of fucking ayahuasca trips, shroom trips, fucking trauma release, nothing that's going to help you, because you are going to be limited by your beliefs, period. You know? So I want to read this super chat here, but real Jake Paul 499. WM Aldina's mom, she'll never forget that experience. Making your mom proud is priceless. Yeah, no, she's gonna come back too. When I have my baller ass fucking penthouse I'm about to get, bro, it's gonna be. Wait, you guys see. Wait, you guys see. I'm not out here only to be on Pearl's show. I'm learning out here. Pearl's teaching me a bunch, and
Pearl's such
you know
a G, dude. She is so fucking smart.
Dude, she is, and she has like a wonderful father who's helping her, like as a consultant from the outside with the business too. And he's like sold his company for like, you know, fuckload of money. So she has like a genius business mind behind it, helping her out as well. You know what I mean? So
Amazing.
she's just like such a fucking awesome person too. Like she's not corrupted by her like, nonsense. She's just like a legitimate like sweetheart girl. So you know, I'm really happy to just to be at this place where I am in my life and have all these amazing people around me, and it's 1,000% due to my inner game. Okay, he is absolutely, um, you know, he's absolutely fucking. It's so critical. That's why we talk about this, and that's what we talk. That's why all these people too in the fucking inner game healing summit, masculine empowerment network. Like that's why these people keep signing up year after year after year. They're getting the value. You know, we have my friend, the hot dog salesman, the guy who like, dude, he like got everything together, fucking went out, made like $900 his first day in business. Can you imagine? That's pretty good. Like starting a business and your first day as a one-man thing.
Insane.
Yeah, make $900. And then someone fucking stole his entire hot dog cart setup. And he like tried for months and months to get it. He lost his license, lost everything, had to redo everything again. And now he's made $7,000 last month. He's on track to make $10,000 this month, and he's been in business less than 6 months.
That's crazy.
You know, another guy who's
and it shows you because here's the crazy thing about that kind of story, right? It's like there's so much overcoming adversity, so much like bullshit you deal with, you know, dedication, hard work, right, from the ground up, and those skills that you have, those are now your skills. You have that for life. He can do anything, right? He'll be set for life, dude. And because of the skills he has, not because of the money he made, because the skills, those same skills apply to all other areas of your life. And so, yeah, man, it all comes down to working on your game and actually working on that inner character development, because it's super, super important. And I don't think most guys really understand this. I think the low-level guys really don't understand this. Like you and me are both sit here as super high-income individuals. Like, I mean, you and I both could take a year off working, wouldn't break a sweat. We both could probably take all our money, invest it, retire if we really wanted to. Go live in some cheap country, ball out like a fucking G for the rest of our fucking lives. Right? Seriously, we literally could.
I could live out the rest of my life.
Do that. No, we both could.
I can live out the rest of my life right now.
We choose. Me too, man. And we choose to sit here and help guys with this because it's just so important. It's just so important that guys learn the skills. I can't even stress enough. It is so important that guys learn inner game healing, and learn how to develop that part of their life. I really can't stress enough, guys. If you want to be a millionaire at some point in the future, if you want to, you know, learn how to improve your dating life tenfold, if you want to, find your dream wife, like you're not going to get there without working on your game.
Yep. And that's why we have the Inner Game Healing Summit coming up on June 29th. So if you're not on the waiting list, like we already have, I think I've only started advertising this like about a week now. We already have 20 new people on the list. There's 650 people flat on the list right now. So again, go to innergamehealing.com, put your best email address, click here to get on. It's only $397, dude. It's insultingly cheap because I just want you to give it a chance. I just want you to give it a try. Give it a try. Come to the webinars. We're going to be doing these live virtual workshops. I'm doing a virtual workshop. We're going to talk about the power of enduring. Justin's going to be doing a workshop. Paul from Apex Mindset, who's a literal combat vet, who is like, dude, he has like helped people get over the fact that they have like done terrible things in war and like recovered these men to full 100% health. Ryan Fowler's going to be in there. Wraith is going to be in there. If you guys have been watching us for a long time, Wraith is a trauma healing expert. Ryan Fowler is a trauma healing expert as well. We've been doing nothing but fantastic things since 2019. We have a consistent, solid track record for 4 years plus. People have joined my people have joined my consultation services, and they've joined other people's consultation services. And like mine always gets positive review. I'm not shitting on anybody else's shit, but I'm just saying like I always get a solid review, and I'm out here changing men's lives. Like a big part of my customer base just stops watching my content because they just leveled up and they got what they wanted and they're out living their great life. And that's what I want people to do. So, I really appreciate everybody here for participating and watching today. Don't forget, June 29th, you can go and get on the waiting list for Inner Game Healing. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'm here in London. And then I'm going to be in King Richie's show, King Richie, King space RICHIE, King Richie's. His channel is also done in Pearl Studio, so I'm going to be on his show. We're going live here in about 3 hours. So find King Richie. You can go to Just Pearly Things and click on her description box, and then you'll see one of her talents is King Richie's. Click on his show. We're going to be talking there. It's going to be a really good show. And until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, go subscribe to Justin's channel. He's tagged in the title. He's tabbed in the description box below. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.